Assalamualaikum everyone. Welcome to my class. So today we are going to look at Unit 9, Getting Away, and we will be focusing on grammar lesson. So in Unit 9, Getting Away English Download, we are going to look at the gerund and infinitives, the use of infinitive with let and make, as well as we are going to look at the comparison of adjectives and adverbs. So without wasting any more time, let's begin our lesson. Alright, welcome to the class. For today's agenda, I'm going to do two major things, which is the first one, I'm going to explain about gerund and infinitives, as well as the use of let and make with infinitives. After that, I'm going to talk about the comparison of adjectives and adverb. Later, I'm going to tell you what you have to do for today's homework, as well as your lesson preparation for our next class. So now let's look at lesson objectives. So by the end of today's lesson, I hope that you will be able to understand gerund and infinitives, make and let, as well as the comparison of adjectives and adverb. So what I'm looking for is people's, means you, can circle the correct words for 16th question in the text, and you also can fill in 6 pairs of dialogues using comparative and superlative form. So what are they? We are going to look at that after this. We will start our lesson today with gerund and infinitive. So gerund usually is in the form of verb plus ing. Okay, and it become a noun. Whereas infinitives, we have two types of infinitives, which is bare infinitives and full infinitives. So we will look at the form and the use of gerund and infinitives in the sentence. Alright, understanding the lesson. I have mentioned before that we are going to learn about gerund and infinitives. And there are two types of infinitives, which are full infinitives as well as bare infinitives. So we'll start with gerund first. Okay, the form of gerund is verb plus ing, and verb plus ing, so it becomes noun. For example, the verb flying here. Fly is a verb, and then you add ing at the back, so it becomes a noun, kata nama. So we can use gerund as a noun. Okay. The example is flying is the best way to reach your holiday destination. And we also use gerund after preposition. For example, we are interested in finding out more about the city breaks on offer. So in here is preposition. In here is a preposition, and then finding out is a gerund. Finding is a gerund. So in finding out. Next, we also use gerund to after a certain verb or phrases. For example, the verb admitted. Okay, so after the verb admitted, we use a gerund. For example, he admitted stealing my passport. So you cannot say that he admitted steal my passport. It should be he admitted stealing my passport. So that is gerund. We use them as a noun after prepositions and after certain verbs and phrases. Next is full infinitives. So full infinitives form is to plus verb. To plus verb. Okay, for example, okay, guess you can see here to book, to get, to see, to go. Okay, so how we use full infinitives? Okay, why we use full infinitives? The first one is to express purpose, menyatakan tujuan. So we use them to express purpose. For example, I went to the travel agency to book my flight. Untuk menempah, to book my flight. So that is for purpose. Next, we use full infinitives to after a certain verb, selepas kata kerja. For example, the verb failed. Okay, fail. So you use full infinitive. He failed to get to the airport on time. Okay, he failed to get to the airport on time. We also use full infinitives after adjective, selepas kata sifat. For example, I am pleased to see you again so soon. Pleased. I am pleased to see you again so soon. And the last use of full infinitives is used after the verb to and enough. For example, I am too old to go rock climbing. Okay, I am too old to go rock climbing. Okay, so that is full infinitives. Next is bare infinitives. So we use bare infinitives after modal verb. After the verb had better and would rather. So the form of bare infinitive is just a verb. Okay, it's just a verb. For example, after modal verb, can. So we can find a cheap package holiday. You had better pack your suitcase now, had better, and I would rather to go to camping holiday. Okay, I would rather go. You cannot say I would rather to go. Okay, I would rather go. So that is gerund, full infinitives and bare infinitives. If you have any question, do contact us in Telegram group, or you can simply leave a comment below. I will try to make you understand more. Alright, so that is for understanding the lesson, gerund, infinitive, full infinitives and bare infinitives. Next, next we are going to look at gerund or infinitives. Okay, some verb can be followed by a gerund or a full infinitive with no change in meanings. Meaning that you can use either gerund or infinitive in the sentence and it bring the same meaning, maksud yang sama. The example given here is she started to pack her suitcase, or she started packing her suitcase. So it brings a same meaning. It means the same thing. Okay, she packed her suitcase. Dia kemas baju dalam beg baju. Okay, however, other verbs can also be followed by a gerund and or a full infinitive, but with a change in meaning. For example, let's look at the example given. I forgot contacting the travel agency. Here, means, okay, you use gerund here, awak gunakan gerund contacting. So contacting here is a gerund. So here it means that I didn't remember that I had contacted the travel agency. Dia dah telefon travel agency tapi dia terlupa. Okay. And the other example is I forgot to contact the travel agency. So to contact here is infinitives. I forgot to contact the travel agency. It means that I did not contact the travel agency because I forgot. Okay, saya tak contact sebab saya terlupa. Okay, so even though some verb can use gerund and infinitive with the same meaning, there are some verb also can change the meaning. So you must be very careful on this one. So make sure you understand how to use gerund and how to use infinitives. Okay, so again, if you have any question, feel free to ask me or Madam Rashida. Okay, let's look at make and let in infinitives. So make plus subject plus bare infinitive is used in active voice to say that we force a person to do something. We are forcing a person to do something. So, for example, the driver made the tourist get off the coach. Means that the driver is forcing the tourist to get off the coach, to leave the coach. So, the driver is forcing. Okay, if you want to use it in the passive voice, okay, it become full infinitive. For example, the tourists were made to get off. The tourists were made to get off the coach by the driver. So that is how you use make in infinitives. So it differs. If you use active voice, you have to use bare infinitive, but then if you use passive voice, you have to use full infinitive. Okay, next we'll look at the word use. Sorry, we'll look at the word let. Okay, let plus subject plus bare infinitive is used to say that we give permission for someone to do something. We give permission to do something. Okay, it only used in active voice, so we don't use let in passive voice. For example, I let my son swim to the rocks. I let my son swim to the rocks. So, let, swim, bare infinitives. So, we cannot use full infinitives if we use the word let. However, if we wanted to express giving permission, if we want to give permission in the passive voice, usually we use be allowed to instead of infinitive. Okay, instead of infinitive, we use to be allowed to. For example, my son was allowed to swim to the rocks. My son was allowed to swim to the rocks. So we use be allowed to. Okay, so I hope you can understand this one. How you use make with the infinitives and how you use let with the infinitives. You use make if you want to emphasize that you force a person to do something, and you use let if you want to give permission for someone to do something. Now let's move on. our activities. Okay, so in your textbooks, you have two activities, activity 2 and activity 3. So I already asked you to copy these activities. So I hope based on my explanation just now, you are able to do activity 2 and activity 3. So I'm not going to discuss this. Okay, we are not going to discuss this because we are, chasing the time. So the activity number 2, you have to read sentence A and B, and then you have to identify whether it is a gerund or is it an infinitive. And if it's a gerund, you have to write which one contains a gerund and which one contains infinitive. And how does it being used? Is it using as a noun or after preposition or after certain verb or phrases, as well as infinitive? Is it a full infinitive or bare infinitive? So you have to actually explain that in your book. Okay, next for number 3, you have to circle the correct word, whether it is going or to go. So whether it is gerund or infinitives. So you have actually to underline or circle the orange word in the passage. So I hope you can do that for this one. So we are going to discuss this. Later. All right. Next. Okay. Moving on to our next topic, which is comparisons of adjective and adverb. So, as you all know, adjectives is something or word to describe noun, whereas adverb is the word to describe verb. Okay, mainly adjective is to describe noun and adverb is to describe verb. Okay, so how do you make comparison in adjective and adverb? We have a comparative and superlative form. So let's look at comparative form. Okay, comparative form. So we use comparative to compare two or more people, things, animal, and etc. So we often use the word than after a comparative. Okay, look at the example here. China is bigger than France. China is bigger than France. So comparative is you compare two things. Bandingkan dua benda. Okay. Bigger than is an adjective. So the adjective big. So when you use in comparative form, you should add er at the back. So er, bigger than. There are few comparative adjective that is not similar to its original form. For example, um, the word good. Okay, good is an adjective, but if you want to use in the comparative adjective, you did not use gooder. It become better. Okay, you use better. Okay, comparative adjective for good is better. Okay, and then another example, a jet plane flies faster than a helicopter. So faster than here is an adverb. Okay, faster than is an adverb. So it is comparative adverb where you add er at the back. So flies is a verb. So you want to describe how does it flies? Fast. So faster than helicopter. So this is the example for comparative adjective. So I hope you understand. Again, if you have any question, feel free to ask us. Okay, next we have superlative. So superlative is used to compare one or more people. Or in bahasa Melayu, you usually use the word paling or terbaik, paling bagus, paling cantik, and etc. So we used to compare one or more people, things, animal, and etc. with other people, things, animals, etc. So we use the word the. Okay, we use the word the before the superlative. Let's look at the example given here. Captain Clark is the best pilot of the company. So he is the best. Okay, good, better, best. So best means paling atau terbaik. So best pilot in the company. And next, Sally paid the highest fare of all the passengers. Sally paid the highest, paling tinggi atau paling banyak, tambang paling banyak, the highest fare of all passengers. So you compare to the other passengers, bandingkan dengan penumpang-penumpang lain. So that is when you use superlative. If you Google comparative adjective and superlative adjective, you will get the list of words, especially the irregular one. Okay, for example, good, better, best, and worse, worst. Okay, so try and do some research and find the list, and please make sure to use the list and memorize them. Okay. Alright, so that is superlative and comparative form. Next, there are other comparative structure. Okay, there are other comparative structure. What are they? So I've given you here, a very small table. So there are 5. Okay, I'm going to read, and I hope you are listening and reading with me. Okay, the first form is S plus adjective, adverb plus S. So how to use them is when two people, animal, or things are the same. For example, I ran as fast as the others, but I soon got tired. So saya lari laju macam mereka, tapi kemudian saya rasa penat. So the same pace, okay, kelajuan yang sama. Okay, number 2, when you use not as plus adjective plus adverb, not as plus adjective, adverb plus s when two people, animals, or things are not the same, tak sama. So for example here, our camp leader was not as friendly as the one we had last year. So you want to compare two different person with the different quality, dua orang dengan quality yang berbeza. So you use not as good or not as friendly as the one we had last year. Okay, next form is less plus adjective, adverb, and then sometimes we put than at the back. Sometimes we leave than at the back. So that's why I put than in bracket. So we use them when a person, animal, or thing has a quality to a smaller degree than another. For example, sunbathing is less tiring than rock climbing. So it is less than or more than. Okay, more than. Sunbathing is less tiring, kurang memenatkan berbanding rock climbing. Next form is comparative plus and plus comparative. So we use them when something is increasing or decreasing all the time, sepanjang masa. For example, every year more and more people go on a holiday abroad. So setiap tahun semakin ramai orang pergi melancong ke luar negara. So that is how you use comparative. So comparative here is more and more. Comparative, more and more. Alright. Last form is the plus comparative, the plus comparative. So you use here when you use this structure when a change in one thing depends on a change in something else. Perubahan dalam sesuatu perkara atau satu benda bergantung kepada perkara yang lagi satu. Okay, for example, the given example here, the more luxurious hotel is, the more expensive the hotel. So semakin mewah hotel tu, semakin mahal harga dia. So the more luxurious, the more expensive. Okay, so these are, ini semua adalah form of structure of comparative adjective. When you want to compare something, bila nak bandingkan sesuatu. So why are we learning gerund, infinitives and adjectives as well as adverbs, the comparative, the superlative, comparative structure? So it will help you in your writing, of course, and speaking, writing and speaking. Why? Because for speaking part 3, you have to have a discussion with your friend, and you can use this comparative structure. You can use adjective, adverb in comparison to justify your point. It is better than this. It is not as good as this, or more and more people love to do this, and so on. So this is why you learn all this grammatical things or grammatical rules. So I hope my explanation is helpful to you. So now we are going to look at what you are going to do today and your lesson preparation. Okay, now we are almost at the end of our lesson today. So your activities, here is what you need to do for today's lesson and the preparation for your next class. For today's task, remember last week I asked you to copy the exercise from page 113. Okay, so today what you need to do after my explanation just now, you need to complete the exercise. Complete the exercise, and then after that you need to copy the notes and complete the exercise also from page 115. So 115 is about comparative adjective and adverb. So you need to complete both exercise 113 and 115 and send them by today before 5 p.m. in the Telegram group. After that, you have to write your attendance so that I can know who have finished the task and who did not do the task. Okay. As for your lesson preparation for tomorrow, you need to copy all the exercise in page 116. So this one you don't have to take pictures and send it to Telegram group. Untuk ni tak payah. Awak hanya hantar untuk, you only send them for tomorrow task. Esok lepas buat jawapan baru awak hantar. After you write the answer, then you send the picture. Esok baru buat. So your preparation is copy all of the exercise first. Hari ni salin dulu, so that tomorrow you just listen to the recording and then take your answer and take picture, send it to the Telegram group. So you will be given the recording tomorrow, and we don't have Google Meet tomorrow. So we don't have the Google Meet tomorrow. I will send you the recording Okay, so I hope that you are able to do today's task and you are prepared for your tomorrow's class or your next class. Okay, that's okay. Thank you for joining today's class. That's all for today. Again, if you have any question, feel free to text me or Madam Rashida so that we can clarify to you your whatever problem or whatever questions that you have. Okay, that's all for today. See you later.